If you solve this case, I'll let you keep a cat here.
What? What?
Really?
Halara has a weakness for cats.
Yes, really. Hey, where are you going?
To solve this case.
To the crime scene.
Oh my gosh! Today we learned! Good day, good people. Another fine day in the year of the Radiant. Toon Link Dave, Bravo Dave, and all my normal cars. It is time again. United States Savior is here for more of the, what is this that we're doing today? It's the thing that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. It is Rain Code. I mean, Rain Code is we're almost done with all the Rain Code content that we can give you guys. It's this week and I think next week. And I think next week I'll have, both Yako and Vivia, from what I've been told from Psykiller, which I believe is completely true. Because I also looked into it and I was like, oh, they both came up. So we'll have, I mean, we might do a double that week just because, hey, that's very, very fresh content. Technically, this content is like months old, but we can be almost right on time for the new content. So I'm excited for it. But I'm also excited to see Raining Cats and Dogs. That's the Halara chapter. Honestly, I've loved both of these sub-stories so far. Charisma Killed the Cat, I think it was just quirky little fun Desihiko experience. This was just neat and cheeky, we had a fun time with the wrong answers only. I'm interested to see how Halara's goes. I feel like it'll be less interactive than Fubuki's, but I'm just interested. We get to finally be Halara. I wonder how many kicks there's gonna be. Go ahead right now, you know, just for the record. I don't know if there's gonna be any kicks, but she's been known to do some kicking. Or rather they, because we don't know Halara's gender or what they identify as. I think the game just generally says they all the time too, so we'll go with they. They, them. How many kicks do you think we're gonna see from them? Let me know. I'm thinking we're gonna see exactly one. I still have hope that we're gonna see one Halara kick. And let's see if that happens. It is Raining Cats and Dogs. I didn't read the intro. I think it said there was a murder. I don't know. I think I might have breezed through it last time. We'll see. If that's the case, Desihiko's is the only one so far that has not had to do with a murder. I guess to use Halara's forte, there will have to be a murder.
Do you know where the milk I put in the fridge went? I was saving it for my coffee.
I took it.
Beats me.
Ooh.
That's my seat, you know.
Not anymore.
How much?
Huh?
For the seat?
How much do you want for it? I'll pay your asking price. Well?
Huh.
You gotta be kidding. Fine. Just keep sitting there.
Free?
I will.
I love Halara.
Someone's coming. I wasn't expecting guests today.
Who could it be? It's a woman. Hello, woman. Thank goodness Desihiko's not here. Very Danganronpa eyes for this woman, too.
Right this way. It's a bit cramped in here.
I was gonna say, all the people who were here in this game and Raincode tend to have, like, different, like, variations on the eyes.
Are you the chief of the Nocturnal Detective Agency? My name is Tetra. Pleased to meet you.
That's not the chief, but it might as well be.
I'm the chief. That's just one of our detectives.
Oh, excuse me. Your detective was sitting at the biggest desk here, so I assumed that...
No, I get you.
My seat gets stolen the moment I leave it open.
Gosh darn it, Yako.
Let's sit down.
I was told you investigate murders.
Murders, you say?
A murder case. It's possible for us to handle it, but...
You know, those pesky peacekeepers, huh?
What we can or can't do depends on whether or not the peacekeepers have already gone through it.
Correct.
I see. My father passed away in a rather bizarre manner. The peacekeepers declared it was an accidental death,
They often do.
but I just can't believe it was an accident.
Yako, you must know how this woman feels.
The peacekeepers usually try to declare any unnatural deaths as accidents. Why do you suspect that it wasn't one?
My father kept tropical fish as a hobby.
Mhm.
One morning, he was found dead, drowned with his head stuck in the fish tank. Do you really think that could be an accident?
No.
He drowned with his head stuck in a fish tank? Can you describe the situation?
Interesting.
The fish tank is set rather low, so you can view it from above.
Ooh, fish.
My father was in a kneeling position, with his head dunked into the water.
Okay, yeah, I see.
That sure is bizarre. What did the peacekeepers have to say?
That it was an accident, and forget about it, probably.
They say he was electrocuted, and passed out when he touched the temperature control switch with wet hands.
Okay.
And he fell into the water and drowned, unfortunately.
That doesn't sound right.
Are you sure the cause of death was drowning?
Yes, that appears to be the case without a doubt. A trustworthy doctor did the autopsy.
Okay.
I see. From what you've said, you can't really deny that it could have been an accident.
No, the problem is the room where my father passed away. It was obvious that someone else had rummaged around.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Well, the room has lots of tropical fish tanks lined up.
Okay.
But on the day my father died, all of them were shattered to pieces.
Oh. Yeah.
And of course there was water and dead fish all over the floor. Someone must have forced their way into the room to do something so terrible. I believe my father was murdered by whoever did that. This must be a murder. Please uncover the truth of my father's death.
What do you think, Halara?
We stepped right into a real murder mystery already, okay.
Beats me. I wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't paying attention because she wasn't paying money.
Don't lie. There's no way you couldn't hear us.
You can assume I don't exist, unless pay is involved.
Correct.
I can pay. My father left me an inheritance.
Oh?
Oh, don't mind my detective. Our rates are always reasonable here.
100,000 Shin?
Then you'll investigate this case on my behalf?
Huh?
Yako won't.
Yes, of course. As detectives sworn to protect this town, we can't leave any mysteries unsolved.
Thank you. I'm so happy I worked up the courage to come here.
Oh.
The Nocturnal Detective Agency is
Poor
here to
girl.
protect the peace of Kanai Ward. You can always count on us. As for investigating this case, we'll check out the crime scene soon. Promise.
Promise. Are we gonna have Yako Halara time then?
Jeez.
That was rather reckless of you to promise.
Right?
It's not like I have a choice. I can't just abandon people in need.
Most often you say just abandon people in need and don't get in trouble with the peacekeepers.
I'm Yako Furio, chief of the Nocturnal Detective Agency. I gotta protect this town.
Wow, it sounds like you really love this town. Much like Makoto.
Do you even have a single lead to solve this case?
What? Of course. I'm a detective after all. If I proceed with the investigation, I'm sure I can find some kind of clue.
Sometimes I just kind of subtly think about the actual main story of this game and how absolutely off the rails it went very quickly.
But I'll need your help, Halara.
That depends on the payment.
You know I don't have a lot of money.
That's fine,
And you know that I don't work for cheap.
right?
Then, how about a deal instead?
A deal? You get that chair whenever you want?
What deal?
If you solve this case, I'll let you keep a cat here.
What? What?
Really?
Halara has a weakness for cats.
Yes, really. Hey, where are you going?
To solve this case.
To the crime scene.
Oh my gosh! Today we learned!
Hold on. The client just left.
And?
Why don't you wait until tomorrow?
Fine. I shall review the case's records until then.
That case is gonna get
Fees
solved.
cheaper than I thought.
If only we knew, we could have just offered them a cat. Raining cats and dog. One singular dog. Fascinating. That is fascinating, actually. Raining cats and dog. But there's also the fact that we didn't see any cats, in the detective agency.
Thank you for coming. You really are willing to investigate the case.
Of course.
Well, that's our duty at the Nocturnal Detective Agency. Your house is pretty big. Your father must have been well off.
Kind of reminds me of the mansion we went into for the Nailman case.
Yes. My father owned a medical devices company. He contributed to Conai Ward's medical advancements for years.
I wonder how much.
I simply can't believe he met his end like this.
Okay, for some reason I thought that the glass was bloody, but it was actually a reflection from the red carpet in the hallway, which is... it was kind of wacky for my eyes. I was like, is that glass still bloody?
You'll find justice.
How was there bleeding at all?
Thank you. I am in your debt. This is my fiancé, Jaren.
Fancy?
We've been living together for about a year now.
Nice to meet you. I'd like to ask you more about the details later, but can we take a look at the scene for now? Oh, before that, do you have a photo of your father?
Of course. Here's a picture from when he was still alive.
Dang.
Thank you.
He's probably a zombie now.
Halara, over here. I'll leave the
Okay.
investigation to you. It's a bit too cramped for all of us to be wandering about. I'll keep speaking to them outside. Talk to me when you're done.
Understood.
And hers is the first person that comes across the crime scene who's not the victim or the culprit. Which I think is so fascinating, admittedly.
Now, time to review the cards I've been dealt.
Alright, I'm excited. I've always really liked her forte.
You definitely want to remember this.
Yeah. I know how the notebook works. Really, there's nothing over here? Okay, fine. Wall stains. Oh, that is interesting.
Yes. There's a stain here that looks like a horizontal line.
As if some kind of like border or something was already like removed from there.
Upon close inspection,
All the
there
way.
appears to be a faint outline of the same stain along all 4 walls.
Yep. Ooh. I wonder if when we actually like view... No, I don't think that there would be that missing, or rather still there if we viewed the same thing.
An ordinary vent.
Mm-hmm.
There's some blue paint on the inner side of the frame. Looks
Blue
like
paint.
something rubbed against it. This may have something to do with the case.
Okay, so blue paint. I do kind of like these little quickie mysteries, you know? The window. No, so this thing goes all the way across the entirety of the room, including over the door and over this window. So why? Was this whole place like flooded? At first I thought it was like a border, maybe like a backsplash or something, or like a wallpaper against the wall. Was this whole place flooded? That's fascinating. Go on.
It's a regular sliding window with a crescent lock.
Crescent lock.
There are no suspicious marks on it.
On the lock.
There's a small veranda outside. We're on the 2nd floor, so any rain that falls off the eaves flows to the drain.
They flooded the room and then used that drain to drain it seems like. But why flood the room? Yo, peacekeepers, y'all suck! No trace of anything suspicious. It just didn't give me the check at first. Okay, there we go. It just removes it whenever you do that. I should know that by now. Floor.
Right.
There's some stains on the floor. It looks like likely due to water spilled from the tanks. Other than that, nothing else seems suspicious. I don't know if it's water from the tanks. Halara, I think it might be water from... Where would they have, like, gotten all of this water from, though? If it really was used to flood the entire room up to, like, essentially waist level. Here, fish keeping equipment. The equipment and food for tropical fish are placed together. Seems like nothing has been used since the incident. There's some dust. Okay. Nothing used since the incident, and then broken fish tank.
All of the fish tanks have been shattered.
Yeah, I would guess that if this room was flooded, some of those fish would have gotten out. And as those fish get out, is this room like... I need to check the door.
There's broken glass scattered on the inside, which means it's certain someone smashed it inward. Why would someone do this?
Because if the fish had gotten out because the water in the room had raised up to there, they would have to do something to conceal all of the fish that are dead on the outside. Otherwise, you've got a bunch of irreplaceable dead fish. Now, this is what I wanted to check at. Because this whole door is kind of littered.
There is a sticky substance stuck to the door frame. Perhaps tape residue?
Did they tape the whole door to make sure water didn't get out? That might be what's up. I investigated things of note, but use your forte. It won't do. I think that seems to be the case.
That's about all I can investigate for now. I should go talk to our clients before I observe the crime scene at the time the body was discovered.
Okay.
The crime scene has been inspected, Chief.
Thanks.
What did you learn?
There are a few things I'd like to confirm.
Okay.
Yes, please ask me anything.
Can you give me the details of when you discovered the body?
It was, I think, around 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning.
My father usually woke up early for breakfast, but when I went to get him, he wasn't in his room.
Okay.
So I looked around and noticed Sugar barking at this room.
Okay.
Sugar?
The dog, I assume.
That's the name of our dog.
Raining cats and dog. Huh? Sugar! Oh! Sugar! Yes, please!
Hey!
Hey, Sugar. So Halara loves animals. Huh? Today we learned.
Sugar sure is happy. She's rarely friendly with anyone.
She barks at me all the time.
Halara's also not usually friendly with everyone.
There.
Shall we continue?
No, it's this Sugar time. Hold up.
Oh, sorry. Sugar was barking in front of the room, so I opened the door to take a look. There I saw my father. His head was in the fish tank. He
Did the
was already
fiance
gone.
do it? If Sugar barked at the door, and it also barks at the fiance, I think that Sugar just ratting out that the fiance did it. You might have to find yourself a new fiance. Let me tell you, if Yuma Coco Head was here, and he had to solve this mystery, you would definitely have to find a new fiance. That's if the fiance
I
did
heard her
it.
scream and ran over. But what I saw took my breath away.
Okay, well, if he was, like, far, far away, then it probably wasn't him. Unless he escaped through the... 6 in the morning? Did they just wake up then? Okay, well, now I'm slightly more convinced it's not him.
Fish tanks were all destroyed. The floor was covered with water. All the tropical fish Father loved were scattered across the floor, dead. Were they valuable?
I'm not sure. I don't know how much they were worth, but the fact is, my father cared for them a great deal.
If the fish were expensive, do you think someone tried to steal them?
Are you implying my father's murder was an afterthought?
Well, I'm just considering possibilities. If they were going to steal the fish, I doubt they'd smash the tanks.
Right.
You're right.
Do you know the estimated time of death for the victim?
I believe it was around 10 o'clock the night before.
When was the last time you saw him alive?
Right around 7 that night. I ate dinner with him. He went to his room after that.
Oh man, poor guy. So, according to the Peacekeepers, the victim died at 10 p.m. and they didn't discover it until 6 a.m. And... she had dinner with him at 7 p.m.
Does anyone else live here?
It's just me and him now. The servant left after making dinner before 7.
The servant, huh?
Tell me, what were you doing around 10 that night?
After finishing dinner with my father, I did some cleaning and washed the dishes. Jaren came to the dining hall around 8 for dinner.
8 for dinner.
And then we watched TV in the living room until around midnight.
Okay, so he likely didn't do it, so maybe it was the servant.
Yes. I know for certain we were together between 8 and midnight.
Unless this is like an auto murder.
Did you
And it
ever
really
get
was
up
the
during that
electricity
time?
that killed him.
Such as to go to the bathroom.
I don't think so.
Were there any screams or sounds of a struggle around 10 at night? No, not at all. I see. That leaves me wondering who entered that room, when they did, and why they smashed all the fish tanks.
So my conclusion still makes sense that someone had to smash the fish tanks, like, maybe in the dead of night.
The fish tanks are large and have thick glass. You'd think you'd hear them being smashed.
Right.
True. All I know for certain is that we didn't hear anything like that.
Do you often come in and out of this room?
Not at all. Only my father used this room.
What did the Peacekeepers have to say when they saw the state of things in the room?
They said my father was stressed out. That he lost control and smashed all the tanks himself.
He would never do that.
Was he actually stressed out?
If he smashed all the tanks himself, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by turning off the tank light or tanks when his hands were wet. Why would he turn them off if he was dead?
Truth be
Or
told,
rather, all the tanks
my
were smashed.
father was lamenting over a prized tropical fish he had accidentally killed that morning.
Oh.
I thought he could have done something extreme, given how much he regretted his mistake.
He did look rather depressed.
Still, my mild-mannered father would never do something like this.
Did you notice anything strange about your father during dinner?
He was sad about the fish, but he ate normally. I didn't notice anything in particular.
It's hard to think he was so distraught that he'd smash all the tanks on his own.
Right.
You're right. But that's what the Peacekeepers told us happened.
Well, the Peacekeepers suck at their jobs.
I'll take another look around. For now, I'd like to ask you to leave the room.
So you're gonna do that thing, yeah? I'm counting on you.
That thing,
Let's
yeah?
wait outside.
Yeah. Well, here we go. We could use ourselves a little forte. This is just a real, this looked like a regular murder mystery.
Down. Time to use my post-cognition to see how things were at the time the body was first discovered.
So at the time the body was first discovered would have been Tetra, because Sugar was barking at the door. Unless Sugar is the one who saw first. I don't know if your post-cognition does dogs too. I'll start with a door, because that's the thing that I always like forget at the end of these things. Even in post-cognition, there's a sticky substance. Was there some kind of tape stuck on here? So, yes. This is tipped over. This is broken.
I see.
All the tanks seem to have been smashed inward. There's not much difference from this than its present state. Okay. Good to know. Fish keeping equipment is knocked down, I guess.
I see.
Many things were scattered. Could this mess be? Could this sort of mess be caused by just a broken fish tank? No, it may have been like signs of a struggle. the floor. Oh, the window is what I really want to check out, but we'll check out the floor first.
There are dead tropical fish everywhere.
Yep.
The whole floor is completely drenched.
The whole floor is completely drenched. Now this is what I am curious about. Yeah, look at that. Other position.
It's not locked.
Nope.
Anyone could come and go through here.
Yep.
Perhaps this is how the culprit entered the place.
Yep. I don't even think it's how they entered the place. I think it's how they let all the water out. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a dead
Yeah.
tropical fish in the drain on the veranda. Why would that be there?
Yep. Yep. All right. Man, I do like these. So here's the part that I'm unsure about. And I kind of want to think it through before we click on it. There is some blue paint up there. So something brushed against that. But what here would brush against it that's blue? Unless there's like more tape? I'm unsure, but let's see.
The paint stuck on the frame can be seen here.
Yep. So even in post-cognition, that paint was there. The wall stands are still here. No differences. No, the stands are... Wait, the stands are darker than they currently are. Does this mean that they were made around this time? Oh, that's different. Fascinating. And here's the corpse.
The victim's body is kneeling against the edge of a fish tank, with his head inside.
Yep.
Like the other tanks, this one is smashed up too. Looking closely, he is soaking wet. It'd make sense if it was just his upper body. But for his whole body to be soaked is unusual.
Yep.
I'm beginning to see the truth behind this case. That's all the investigating I need to do for now.
Yeah, I'm starting to see the truth too, but like I want to think a little bit more about this because I haven't arrived at the full truth yet. Because this whole like lower, part of me thinks like maybe it was a struggle. I don't know how they got all that water in here is the real question. Maybe a hose, or you know what? It never stops raining. Was it all rainwater? Was it all rainwater? And a hose, yeah. Oh, for a hose outside. Okay, yep.
The dog has something in her mouth.
Thanks, Sugar.
Hey, Sugar.
What's this?
The final
That's
piece of the
Sugar's
puzzle.
favorite toy. It's just a rubber hose tied up in a knot. Ever since she was a puppy, Sugar has loved playing tug of war with a rubber hose.
Oh.
So I still make toys out of hoses like this.
Oh.
But I don't think I made one for her recently. Where did she get it from?
Wow, that's interesting. Let me take a look.
Yeah, let me see
Wait,
it.
don't touch it.
What's wrong?
Put that in a plastic bag without touching it directly. I believe it's evidence.
That's evidence?
Yep.
Consider it a precaution.
Fingerprints. Yep.
How's the investigation going?
Well, I think I know how the culprit did it. But it's either your fiance or your servant.
Are the peacekeepers right? Did my father pass away due to an accident?
Nope.
Or was it...
The answer
It was an
is
elaborate.
clear.
Yeah.
This was no accident, but a murder.
Huh? Really?
Yep.
What makes you think it's a murder?
My thinking.
Go on. I think it's the window. All of it, honestly. What about it? The window is open.
No, it's not enough to disprove the theory that it was an accident. Reviewing it more carefully.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. The floors are wet. The window was open. The fish tanks were smashed. Part of me thinks it's the walls too. Is it the wet walls?
No, it's not enough.
Okay, let me think. That disproves that it was an accident. Not the floors being wet. Is there something that's dry? Maybe the walls are dry now? I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I'll get there, Halara. I'll get there. There's only a handful of the fish tanks. I don't think it's the fish tanks. It must be a murder because of the window. That window's wet right there, sure is.
No.
Is it because the floors are wet? I don't think that's the case either.
No, it's not.
Alright, game, look. Work with me here. Why was this a murder? Can I actually go to our... Oh, I can. Bet. Here, in that case... What proves that it was a murder? Darker than they currently are. They're smashed inward. Oh, there's... It seems like there was signs of a struggle. Before the corpse. The rubber toy. Okay, well, let's get back into the action and cry a little bit because I'm unsure. Why was it a murder? Here, I'm just not thinking. The floors. And our four options were what? Wet, shattered, dry, and something else? Wet, shattered, dry, and open. The floors being wet, not a problem. Floors being dry, not a problem. The floors being shattered is not true. Windows being wet or dry doesn't matter. Shadowed or shattered open. I thought it was windows open, which I guess is not an issue. Fish tanks were dry, open, shattered. I guess it's fish tank shattered.
The victim died with his head in the fish tank. Is that right?
Didn't I talk about this? I talked about this right before this. I was like, if he died with his head in the tank, then there shouldn't have been any water to electrocute him.
Yes, that is certain.
As you can see, this fish tank was destroyed like all the others. That is far too strange. It means something logically impossible occurred.
I hate that I have basically said what Halara is saying right now, like 5 minutes ago, but then it took me like 5 minutes just now to say, what doesn't make sense here? Gosh darn it. It was me. It was me all along. This happened a couple of times when playing this game too. And me looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was out here saying big brain things, but when it came down to actually putting in the answer, I was like, huh, what goes on here?
Impossible? What do you mean?
Yo, I swear I'm both incredibly clever and catch on very quickly, but also I'll miss the simplest of things.
I shouldn't have to explain it.
Oh man.
If the victim drowned with his head in the tank,
Yes.
then it had to be filled with water.
Right.
But as you can see, the fish tank is destroyed, meaning it is unable to contain water.
And he was specifically drowned, so he drowned in the room.
Like with the other tanks, the water spilled out when it was smashed, emptying it. So how could the victim drown in a fish tank that held no water?
Oh, now that you mention it.
The peacekeepers claim the victim was disoriented and smashed the fish tanks himself. But if the victim was still alive when he smashed the fish tanks, it would have been impossible for him to have drowned.
Correct.
In other words, the victim was drowned, then placed next to the fish tank to make it seem like an accident.
I don't think we're gonna see any kicks.
The culprit must have believed this camouflage would be enough to fool the peacekeepers.
They were right.
So my father was murdered.
Yep.
Yes, there is no mistake about it. This is murder.
Hold on. If the culprit wanted to make the victim look like he drowned, why did they destroy the fish tank?
They had to.
Didn't they realize their cover would be blown? And plus, all the fish tanks were destroyed. not just that one.
It must have been part of their plan for the Peacekeepers to overlook this contradiction. However, destroying the tanks required a lot of effort. If the culprit did so despite the contradiction it created, then we have to assume there was an unavoidable reason behind it.
Correct.
An unavoidable reason.
Yeah, I've been through this part too. Now I'm not gonna get
Who
it.
is the culprit?
I must investigate further to find that out. I'll report back once I find the answer.
Yes, please.
Has anyone outside your family entered or left the house recently?
I don't think so.
Were there any tradesmen who came to work on your place?
I can't think of any.
Okay.
Allow me to change the question.
Okay.
Have you recently done any remodeling or repairs to the home?
Oh, now that you mention it.
Oh.
The rain gutters on the roof were broken, so Jaren fixed them.
Oh, really, Jaren?
He fixed the rain gutters?
Uh-oh.
Yes, he's an avid DIYer.
Uh-oh.
He not only fixed the broken parts, but also checked the gutters around the whole building, which was a lot of work.
Man, part of me believes that this might be a DIY murder. Jaren, fix those gutters. Fix those gutters.
That concludes my investigation.
What? Are you sure that's enough?
That's really funny. It was like, I need to investigate further. Jaren fixed the gutters. My investigation's done.
Jeez, you're always off in your own world. I'm sorry about that. Our ace detective isn't very friendly. That being said, I believe this case will be solved soon. Please be patient for just a bit longer.
Thank you.
Sweet. I guess we're just gonna walk over to Jaren and be like, hey, what's up? Drone umbrella. Oh,
Halara,
here?
just as you suspected, it could be the fiancé. Jaren has been living in the client's home and mooching off her since he got fired from his job a year back.
Dang.
He's in quite a lot of debt, too. At one point, he was spending almost all his time in casinos.
This is the second time we've heard about casinos.
He kept asking the client's father for money, but was always denied. Seems the father was also against their marriage.
So money is the motive. If the father
The
were to
inheritance.
die, the daughter would inherit everything. So if he married her, the money would be his.
And he'd be out of debt.
Makes sense. The thing is, that man has an alibi. The victim's estimated time of death is 10 at night. There's no mistake that Jaren was with the client at that time. It makes no sense to suspect Tetra, since she's our client. So we have to assume his alibi is airtight.
Right. I agree.
For that time.
His alibi is perfect. Not only was he with Tetra at 10, but he was also with her for 2 hours before and after. So, as it stands, it's impossible for him to have killed the victim.
No, the alibi isn't a problem. It's possible if a certain trick was used.
Yep.
A trick?
But I still lack hard evidence. Perhaps it's worth rolling the dice here.
Oh?
Hey, are you sure about this?
Halara Nightmare.
We'll make our move.
As
tonight.
always, sure.
Let's go to the client.
We have soft evidence. The hose. Or the dog. Sugar. Let's be like, hey, Sugar, who did it? Bark, bark. Thought so. Thanks, Sugar. Thanks, Shugs. That's some choppy rain. Alright.
Is it true that you know the truth behind this case?
Yeah.
That's right, miss. Allow me to explain. The key detail for this case is the victim's cause of death. Without a doubt, the victim died by drowning.
Yep.
But making it look like he drowned in the fish tank was camouflage.
Yep.
Why would such a thing even be needed? Because it secured the killer's alibi.
Uh-oh.
You said that the victim's time of death was around 10 p.m. In other words, the culprit secured their alibi at the same time as they murdered the victim.
Yep.
Is that really possible?
Through a certain trick, it was possible to drown the victim even if the culprit wasn't there.
Drown him without being there?
Yep.
The trick the culprit used was...
I mean, it is the vent and the hose, but do you just want me to do the vent and the hose? It's all of, it's these two. The hose flooded the room.
First, it involves this rubber hose.
That's Sugar's toy.
If you untie the knot, it returns to being a hose. This was what was first used in the crime.
How was it used? Don't tell me that's the murder weapon.
How do you know?
If you
Dummy.
check the vent, you'll see the color of paint scraped on there matches the hose.
There we go.
It was likely passed through the vent.
Someone put the hose in the vent. Why would anyone do that?
To flood this entire room.
It's nothing special. The hose was simply used for its original purpose.
Its original purpose?
You know.
One end of the hose was placed on the edge of the rain gutter on the veranda side.
Yep.
Prior to this, the culprit adjusted
There's even
the
a
rain
hole
gutter
right there.
so that the hose could be inserted into it. The rainwater from the gutter passed through the hose, filling the room.
Huh? What do you mean? Halara, you think this place got flooded with rainwater?
And it was the rainwater.
That would drench the whole place.
When the body was found, the room was, in fact, drenched.
Yep.
But that was because of the broken fish tanks, right?
Wrong.
That's part of it. But the main reason was due to rainwater pouring into the enclosed room.
Yep.
Wait, what do you mean? What's the point in flooding this room with rainwater?
To drown the victim.
culprit's goal was to secure their own alibi at the estimated time of death. This trick was necessary for that.
I don't get it. Can you explain from the beginning?
Oh my gosh, Yako.
Let's go over what the culprit did on the day of the crime, in order.
I don't know why the fiancé is not freaking out.
First, the culprit mixed sleeping pills into the victim's dinner.
Oh.
While the victim was asleep, the culprit proceeded to prepare the trick.
Sleeping pills in his food?
Yep.
That reminds me. My father did seem sleepy shortly after eating dinner.
After dinner, the victim likely went to his room to lay down. The culprit then sneaked into his room and carried him out while he was asleep.
They say as they just stare the fiancé dead in the eyes.
That was how the victim was transported to this room.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no evidence on that part.
At this point, you're sure he was still alive?
Of course. If the culprit murdered the victim earlier, then their alibi wouldn't have worked.
Correct.
The culprit had to murder him in such a way that would secure their alibi.
You know what I really hate? That the Peacekeepers weren't exactly trying to cover up for some of these people. Like, some of them I think they were. Like, I think maybe, Karen in the second, No, I don't think they were really covering for her either. I think they were trying to pin things on us in the 4th chapter. But they're just bad at their jobs. For real.
The preparations were done in this room. After bringing the victim here, the culprit used duct tape on the gap near the door to weather strip it.
Weather strip? What's that?
It prevents water from leaking outside.
What do you mean?
Let me explain.
Oh my gosh.
After weather stripping the door, the culprit started destroying the fish tanks.
Started destroying the fish tanks first? I don't think that feels false.
The culprit likely covered them with cloth to dampen the noise.
Oh, well, okay, that's fine then.
Once he smashed all of them, he leaned the victim onto the fish tank. The culprit then moved to the window on the veranda and weather stripped the outside of it. Finally, they took the hose connected to the rain gutter and passed it through the vent to the inside of the room.
That man's is a master weather stripper and a fantastic Mr. DIY.
Preparations in place, the culprit left through the veranda and returned to the mansion as if nothing had happened.
How does that complete everything. The victim was still alive at the time, right?
Yeah.
The victim naturally drowned after being left alone for several hours.
Huh? How's that?
They flooded the room, dummy.
Rainwater from the rubber hose flooded the room in a few hours. The whole room was turned into a fish tank, this time filled with rainwater. And that is how the victim drowned.
The whole room was flooded?
Well, not the whole room, but like, you know, half.
That can't be.
The proof lies in the stained walls. The day of the murder, the room must have been filled to that line with rainwater.
Rainwater killed the victim?
Yep.
Correct. Only in this city could such an approach be possible.
Right.
The rain never stops in Kanai Ward. This makes it easy to estimate the amount of rainfall to a certain degree.
That is also true.
So it is not impossible to create this alibi trick with some calculation.
He was a
I think
DIYer.
that's a bit of a stretch. Wouldn't it take at least half a day for the room to fill with enough rainwater to drown the victim?
I'm sure it would require more rainwater than usual to accomplish it.
However,
Which means you'd need to gather all the rain falling around this giant mansion.
yeah,
Gather all of it. How?
the gutters.
It would require slight adjustments to the rain gutters. After that, the rainwater would flow to the veranda.
Adjustments to the rain gutters?
Tetra, are you putting two and two together now?
There would be plenty of water if all of the rain that pours upon the mansion is rerouted to this room. That explains how the culprit secured their alibi while drowning the victim. In the morning, before the body was found, they removed the weather stripping and drained the water through the veranda. If you check the drain in the veranda, you should find dead tropical fish that were carried out with the rainwater.
Yep.
The culprit smashed the tanks beforehand to prevent rainwater from being stored inside.
Yep.
Well, that's how I would have done it. But maybe the culprit didn't realize that before they started draining the water.
Here we go. Ah, I see. I see.
Seeing the fish tanks filled with rainwater, the culprit panicked and smashed all of the glass to hide the evidence.
Yep.
They must have carelessly broken the one fish tank the corpse was leaning on in the process.
Yep.
Isn't that how it went? Jaren,
Ooh.
I'll be direct. You are the culprit.
It's like, yeah, you did it.
Hold on. Is this some kind of joke? Why would I kill my father-in-law? That's stupid.
Well, not father-in-law yet.
But you were fixing the rain gutters a few days before the incident.
That's because you asked me to fix them. How does fixing some stuff pin me as the culprit? That's crazy talk.
So you intend on maintaining that you're not the culprit?
Of course.
Then we'll have to ask our little friend for the answer.
All right.
Come here, sugar. This is the rubber hose used for the trick. There are scrapes on its surface. That's the proof. I'm sure the culprit tried to dispose of it, tying it into a knot before throwing it away.
However,
But our friend here found it for us. Good girl, sugar. Only the culprit has directly touched the rubber hose.
yep.
I'm certain his scent is still on it. Tell us, sugar, who do you smell on this?
Sugar, let's go. Let's go, Sugar. Let's go, Sugar.
So, it is you.
Oh, dang. Sugar just could have been barking.
This is complete nonsense. I won't accept it. If I have to, I'll kill all of you.
Oh, now you sound real guilty.
Hey, don't tell me that you're really... I was so close.
Oh my gosh.
Getting all that money.
Oh boy. All right. Well, maybe we might get one kick.
Calm down. Hey, why me? I can kill the woman anytime. I'll start off with you.
Oh my gosh.
Damn you, detectives. This is your fault for sticking your nose into my life.
Can you handle this on your own, Chief?
I'm pretty bad at this sort of thing. Please help. Shut up! I'll kill.
Yeah! One! All it takes is one. Let's go. That's what we've been waiting for. And the coin too.
I never thought it would be like this. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you did just lose all the homies in your life, but you still got little Shugs. You still got Shug Knight.
That's what she's saying.
If you ever need help, come to us. The Nocturnal Detective Agency will always be at your service.
Well, not unless one of us dies and the other one leaves the city. You might not have anybody here to help you in a minute. Whoops. Oh man, that was awesome. I love Sugar. We stand Sugar out here. I assume there's gonna be a little bit at the end. I mean, just ending on the image of Sugar is fine too. Now we got a little something. A cat!
As promised, you can keep that cat here.
Oh.
I don't need your help. That's what the cat is saying.
Lavelle!
Come on, this cat thinks it's some sort of hard-boiled detective?
Yes.
Well, I suppose I don't mind.
This city is a difficult place to live. Even for the animals.
Yeah.
Right. I hope we can keep solving the mysteries here to make this city a better place. And make it a nicer place for them to live too.
I sincerely hope so.
You're so cold to humans, but you like animals.
Right?
Are you teasing me?
No.
See, there you go again, making that scary face.
Chief, you'll get kicked too.
Seeing you play with the cat, you look kinda cute.
Chief?
It sure would be nice to see more of that smile around here. I hope you keep using your powers to change this city. I know you can do it. For their sake, too.
That depends on the payment.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but now we know how easily swayed you are.
Come on. Well, how's this? Consider it the reward for this case.
Oh, some milk in a
Maybe you
dish.
could ask for permission next time.
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh. Oh man, I like this one a lot too. Man, and now we can see like the bond that Halara built with the chief. Never would have known. Oh, that like it kind of like changes some of the stuff that we saw at the end of or I guess towards the end of the game too. Man, not in terms of like anything that happened, but just in terms of how everyone in the detective agency felt about the chief. He really was that guy. He was that man. So, huh. I like that one a whole lot. Well, that was Rain Code Raining Cats and Dog. Loved it to bits. Next time, we'll have 2 more unlocked, and we might double up on them. And if we don't double up on them, it might just be a Tuesday into a Wednesday. You might get 2 days in a row, and we'll finish off our Rain Code. It has been a ride. It has been a ride, but I think it's time we move on to something else. After our last 2 sub-stories, man. I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy all of these so far. And I'm sure Vivia's is going, because Vivia, sometimes, a lot of times, is a whole mood. Is a whole mood. So I'm looking forward to it. And of course, the chief. I'm curious to see what that one's going to entail, because I assume it either involves all of them except for Yuma, or it just involves the chief. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited for both of the next 2. Which one of these was your favorite so far? Honestly, they're all really good, and it's hard to pick. I think this last one, I think this last one might have been my favorite. Just because we got some more, like, Halara characterization. And I enjoy Halara a lot. But that's not gunned down on any of the other two, because I think it's, like, Halara might be my favorite of the three that we've seen so far, but it's like a very slim margin. It could go either way. Loved it. Loved it a bit. But until next time, United States Avery is taking off. Year of the Radiance, Toon Link Dave, Bravo Dave, Anomaly, Anomalakaris, Turnip Boy. I'm taking off. Toodaloo, Flight Crew. Next week is Vivia time, and I guess we'll do Vivia's on Halloween, which is fitting because he's a spooky ghost stepped out of his body. If there's something strange in your neighborhood, you're gonna call. I guess probably not Vivia, because he's just gonna lay down and say, oh, that's a lot of effort. Someday I wish I were dead. Toodaloo, Flight Crew. Thanks for watching.